Originally raised by Tommy Truthful, Truth Mafia music, we be bringing the truth that the mainstream hides.
Welcome to another episode of Truth Mafia News. This is episode 29. Make sure you smash that like button, share this video, leave a comment. It helps the videos to get into the algorithm. Today we're going to be getting into Hollow Earth. We're going to discuss Hollow Earth, Flat Earth, simulation theory, America. Was it really Egypt? We got a whole bunch of stuff planned for you guys today. Before I get going, this is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 USC 107. And all the links that we're going to talk about during today's podcast are available down below. Make sure you guys support the sponsors. We got amazing sponsors, Body Align, really good technology. Protect yourself against this 5G. You guys know what I think about that. Not a big fan. That link is down below in the description, as well as our Nano Soma. And we'll talk more about them later on in the podcast. And we'll get into this. You can also get your decode if you're interested in that. There's a link down in the description for that, which that'll play into today's podcast. I got my father, my brother Dom with me today. Dad, I'm going to play this clip here in a second, but let me introduce these gentlemen first. Pops, how you doing? I know we were on Tommy Truthful time, and so that's my fault. We were late, guys, and Dad said we got to be on Papa Truthful time.
Absolutely, you got to be on Papa Truthful time, son. And what does that mean? You're on time. That's what it's all about. So, it's exciting day. It just was my 60th year young birthday. I want to thank you all for those beautiful birthday wishes. It was just it's a glorious day for me every day. I just am so grateful and blessed to be in this time that we're all living in, and to be here with all of you and to talk about this interesting stuff my son, Tommy Truthful, is bringing to us today. So this is going to be exciting.
And don't forget, guys, join our high vibrational community. It's 100% free. Step into your power. That link is also in the description. And shout out to my little brother over there from another mother, Donut Factory. Me and Donut, we'll have one coming up here pretty soon. We just got to coordinate. And Donut told you happy birthday, Dad.
Donut! What's up, Donut? Love you, brother.
Donut's in the crib, you know. Shout out to Donut out there in AZ, where it's hot as hell. I don't know how he lives out there, but I couldn't do it. So let me play this video. In this talks, the guy in the video, he kind of believes an opposite narrative than I do. I think it might be backwards to his theory. Some people believe there's this ancient war going on between these two brothers, right? Enki and Enlil. And we've had Ishmael Perez on before. He believes Enlil is the good one. And then we've had my brother B-Del on. B-Del 104 or one, yeah, B-Del 104 is his handle on YouTube. You'll find him. But he thinks it's Enki is the good one, which is Poseidon, Neptune. So I got this clip we're going to play. That's going to get us into Hollow Earth and all this stuff. And then I'll introduce Dominic, and we'll ask him, because he's got a lot of good theories on all this stuff. So
Atlantis, also known as Eden, and was known as the, quote, chief scientist among the gods. Satan, aka Enki or Saturn, was driven by a scientific curiosity and rivalry with his brother Jehovah, also known as Enlil or Zeus, and interbred with Adami women to create a royal half-god lineage, which included his son Cain. This enraged Jehovah, who overthrew Satan, seized Atlantis, and installed his son Baal Moloch, aka Abel, as ruler. Satan's son and heir, Cain, refused to submit and was exiled. There was a brief brief period where Satan and Cain civilized other civilizations before the Edenic Wars began, where Satan fought Jehovah and Cain fought Abel for control of the Atlantean Empire. Abel was during the battles, and Satan was somehow incapacitated and imprisoned within the center of the earth, allowing Jehovah to assume control. After the flood, a sort of dimensional shift occurred where the gods could no longer rule the earth directly, but remained hidden and could only be seen through veils. From this point on, they used their royal human-god hybrid descendants as conduits acting on their behalf, a practice that continues until this.
So what they're saying is the elites, the alleged, I hate calling them elites because they're not elite, but these so-called elite bloodlines that run this world are descendants of these two brothers, right? Enki and Enlil, and they're hybrids. So it's very interesting because in 1934, there was an article where it was actually in the mainstream newspaper where they talked about these underground dumbs and reptilian humanoids down there. And people have different theories on what is in Inner Earth. You know, we've seen it in the movie Godzilla versus King Kong. Did you watch that one, Dad? Godzilla and Kong?
I can't even tell you how many times I've watched that, son. I love Godzilla. I love King Kong, and all of that was awesome. I've watched it probably 5 times. That movie.
I think you actually got me hip to Godzilla back when I was younger, if I'm not mistaken. I think I did start watching that stuff with you. But yeah, remember there was the portal to Inner Earth. When they entered the portal, they had to go down to Antarctica, and that's when they entered this portal to Inner Earth, which then gravity inverted when they went in there. So they say the reason that and Jay Dreamerz is coming on, he'll be on in a second, he can really break this part down for us. They say the energy in there, this plasma radiation, is what allows the animals to grow so much bigger. Why we have, lizards down there that look like Godzilla and King Kong, and they say there's humanoids down there that are 15 foot tall with advanced technology. And all you got to do is look into Admiral Byrd. And when he passed away, in 1946, he went on an expedition down to Antarctica. And then after he passes away, he comes back from this expedition, and they shut him up instantly, right? Like, don't let him talk about it. But he was writing everything down in his diary. So when he passed away, his son found his diary, and that's where we get a lot of the theories that he went into Inner Earth, and he talked to what was called the Master, and it was some advanced humanoid with technology that he never seen before, that we call UFOs now, anti-gravity technology, right? And they told him they were really worried about what we were doing with nuclear devices and stuff like that. So my theory, because there's a lot of people I know that believe in flat Earth in here, and they've had that in the mainstream newspaper as well, with the ice wall around it. We see that in the movie Game of Thrones. Remember the ice wall with the 19 castles on the ice wall, and they were keeping the giants out, the Nephilim giants. So they like to tell us these stories in the movies, which is a form of predictive programming, lesser magic. Now, my theory on this is that it is both. I think it's both. I think we do live in an enclosed system with a nice wall around it, but there's an underworld below it. And I also don't believe America is what they truly tell us it is. There's many different theories that America was the real Holy Land in Egypt. And, up here where I'm at in Ohio was really Babylon, Mesopotamia, Chicago, all that area, Detroit. And then going out towards California, Utah, where the Mormons are, was Israel. And it's funny because there's a huge connection with the Mormons in this whole Inner Earth theory. That's what got me going down this rabbit hole. was I was looking into some stuff about the Mormons, and I realized, man, wow, they really believe in this inner earth thing. So I started looking into it, and they believe they're one of the lost tribes, actually, the Mormons. Do you know anything about the Mormons, Pops, yourself?
A little bit. A little bit. And it's interesting what you're showing there because it makes a lot of sense. Um, there's multiple multiverses, right? In
Yeah.
different realities and all these different multiverses. So you could have millions of versions of things. We don't even understand the depths of all this stuff. But you're talking about this inner earth stuff, and we just found out that through one of the I think Bush administration higher ups, that they spent $21 trillion building underground cities that could
Yep.
hold tremendous amounts of people. And we're talking about tunnels under the ocean. These tunnels that you can go in and you're 1,000 miles, like in 15 minutes. It's like teleportation, like creating, like almost like a wormhole that pulls you through. And so all of this stuff's happening, but below that is this inner earth that you're talking about. And there's all this stuff going on in there. And I'm loving seeing all of this starting to come to the surface and people starting to see. And again, there's multiple verses going on. People don't, the reality of what really is not what they've been telling us. Okay. You can imagine that almost everything that they've told us is a lie, pretty much.
Yeah. Pretty much, right?
Yeah.
That much we know, right, Pops? And they
Yeah.
got it in front of the Vatican, bro, and in front of the United Nations, this crazy sphere. Then it looks like very similar to Hollow Earth. So it's like, are they in on some secret? And the Vatican's they've been talking about these aliens and extraterrestrials for a while now. A lot of people don't think that they're from outer space like they tell us, or whatever they are. Some are fallen angelics, right? The reptilian ones, I don't trust them. I think there's some fallen angelic type entities myself. But they've been talking about them and said they were going to baptize them. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty crazy. And now we got this new pope, the first pope from Chicago. And guys, remember what I told you to watch out for? Big events coming out of Chicago. And now we have a pope that is the first pope. I think he's the first pope from America, too, if I'm not mistaken. And he's from Chicago. So there's some connection with Chicago. That's where the twin eclipses made the X over that New Madrid fault line. But they talk about this inner earth in scripture, the hollow earth. And I was talking to Jay today on the phone, and I was like, Jay, I wonder if that's like the firmament they talk about. Me personally, like I said, I told you guys my theory, what I believe. But I like to explore other theories too. I like to hear other people's theories and look into stuff, or it'd be boring. Life would just be boring if I'm stuck in the echo chamber. So I just wondered, what if the firmament was like the outer crust, and then inner earth, is where we're really supposed to be. We're not even supposed to be out here. It was just theory I was thinking about. Jay Dreamerz, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's up? Aloha. Happy birthday to Dad. Good to see you guys.
Thank you, Brother Jay. Thank you, Brother Jay.
Brother
No
Jay with his
Congrats.
Stranger Things on, my favorite shirt.
Oh, yeah. Man,
that's the letter font I always use, bro, the Stranger Things.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me. This is a great topic, man. Like, I'm so interested in cosmology and how it ties into fringe history and the other worlds, the underworld. I like that video you guys were talking about, Enki and Lil, and that connection.
Yeah, it's fascinating, Jay. And Jay just wrote a book. I just finished up his second book. He's wrote 2 books now about this subject, and I put the links to his website, his YouTube channel down in the description, as well as his books. His books are just fascinating. So Jay, what's your theory on inner Earth, brother, and the plasma energy, like when it gets into Godzilla and why the animals grow so big and stuff like that?
Well, I think that like how big gigantism basically, I think that a lot of that has to do with the Earth itself and the conditions that exist in the different places, either up here on the surface or down inside of the Earth. And I believe that the two contributing factors, like the main contributing factors, are the oxygen levels and the pressure. So I think that the pressure fluctuates, that we go through these cycles of pressure buildup and then pressure release, and that the pressure buildup puts pressure on us from all sides. We just get used to it over time, and it shrinks everything down. And then during the pressure buildup phase, there's also a lack of oxygen as up here on the surface, all the energy and stuff is getting pulled down into the heart of the Earth, or the inner Earth, like sun that a lot of the ancient books talk about, like the inner Earth sun, or like the smoky god and stuff like that. And that every other cycle, that pressure is released from the inner Earth. They lose their pressure. It all comes up here. All their gases and stuff rush up to the surface, and it gives us an oxidation event. So it refreshes our supply of oxygen. We get, I'd say maybe twice as much oxygen as we normally have. And everything up here grows to gigantic sizes. So we kind of switch places every other cycle. So right now, everything living down inside of the hollow Earth would be gigantic if this is true. And then with the pressure release, a lot of the giant insects and things that live the closest up to their sky, or our subterranean areas, they would, some of those would just get blown up to the surface naturally, like the giant bugs and stuff, like it talks about in Revelation. And then other sentient
Right.
beings, they would come up here because this would be the golden age. This would be the place to go to. So there would be a mass migration from the hollow Earth up to the surface, so that they can continue living in those good conditions.
That's why you believe that they live longer than us down there too. It's the energy, right?
Yeah. Oh, so the energy is the key thing. It's the gases that are being ionized through electromagnetism, and that electromagnetism is power. It powers everything. It powers the souls and the spirits, the chakras, the very cellular structures of the creatures that it flows around and through, and it allows them to live a lot longer. It allows their synapses to act at full capacity. So like how we use 10% of our brain now, under different conditions where the atmosphere is electrically amplified, so would we be. And so we would use a lot more. Our brains would fill up with energy. Our synapses would connect, more. And it would also have health effects on our skin, like cold plasma technology that they're just now tapping into. The cold plasmas stimulate the cellular structure, the collagen, the elastin in the skin. It gets rid of cancers and stuff just by polarizing the cancerous cells. It gets rid of bacteria, it sanitizes viruses, all that kind of stuff, which is why I believe that the elite are so interested in particular areas in this world that connect down into those places, why they tend to claim that land, and why they want the biggest places, the biggest openings down into the earth for themselves.
Right, because after Admiral Byrd, I watched all these documentaries last night preparing for this episode on Admiral Byrd. I didn't know a lot of the stuff, and it blew my mind. Like after I didn't know they silenced him when he came back after he did that TV show, that famous TV show. Yeah, they shut him right up. Like, bro, you can't. And then we had that treaty, right, where all the nations, like, you pretty much can't go to Antarctica. People are like, yes, you can. You could take an expedition down there, but no, you can't. They take you to like one little piece of Antarctica.
Right. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. You're free, but that's a risk you take. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, it might not turn out good for you.
Yeah, I mean, it helps to study too, because the elite, if what we're hypothesizing about holds any weight, then we could also theorize that they naturally would have access and have stored up this ancient knowledge for a long time, and they would have more knowledge about where to go to, where the openings are, the best routes and stuff. So those are the main routes that they're going to, insist that they be guides, or, if they do a lot, like whenever you go down into a cave or something, it's always like a guided tour, and they say it's for your safety and all that stuff. But in reality, they're guarding those places,
Right.
or it
Yeah,
seems to
like
be to me.
seems to be to me too. And that's where they say it's funny that that's where they say the entrance to these places are, like you're talking about, the North Pole entrance, they say, is one, Jay, and then the
Yeah.
South Pole entrance. And I think it would be the same. Is it similar to that on a flat Earth cosmology too?
Oh, well, I mean, I can't, I have my own cosmology. I don't like to speak for all flat earthers everywhere as if, what I believe is what everybody believes. But from my perspective and my research and my path that I've been on, I come across time and time again that there's many inner earth entrances, but the largest one is at the North Pole. It's at the center of the world. So if you look at it from a flat earth perspective, then the exact North Pole, the geographic North Pole, that would be the heart of the earth. That would be the place where the battery of the earth exists, where the most power exists, and therefore the largest openings or veins that go down into the earth, into the underworld, and where that exists too. That would also be, when people write stories about it religiously, that would be like where God lives, or the throne of God, or the temple, or the house of Enki, or Yahweh, or, whatever it may be, the cave that Jesus was born in and stuff. The holy mountain, time and time again, that's been talked about, which I believe is just not, it's a hollowed out mountain. I'm just talking about, Mount Meru and Rupus Nigra and stuff. So that's the biggest opening. However, there's lots of other subsequent cavernous systems and veins that go throughout the earth, caves and stuff, that connect all around the place. The other largest ones are said to be around Antarctica. So, for example, the books, The Smoky God, that was written over 100 years ago, that was an actual eyewitness account of a man who told the story of him and his dad going north to get down into the earth, and they went down into the hollow earth. They stayed down there for a while, and when they came out, they took this swiftly moving river, because there's all these waters that are created down there. There's like a whole bunch of water under the surface.
Yeah, they said they found an ocean. Mainstream science said that. I was reading that last night. Like more than the water we have up here, dude.
Yeah, exactly. And
so you're right.
And so when they came out of the inner earth, they found that the exit had taken them to Antarctica, and they came out where there was all these icebergs, and they were in the Antarctic Ocean, and they were picked up. His dad died on the journey, but he was picked up, and he tried to tell people about his journey, and he was immediately thrown into a mental hospital for years.
Wow.
And he was completely silenced, and that's why he says in his book, "This is why I was scared to death." He only shared the story on his deathbed, literally on his deathbed, because he had nothing else to lose. So he's like, "I'm just going to share this story. I've kept this a secret my whole life, but because I want to live in peace."
Me and my dad are going to do that, Pops. We're going to go to the center of the earth, bro. Me and you. See what's going on down there. Do you think it's like a portal that you go through, like they showed us in King Kong vs. Godzilla, some type of dimensional gateway?
When I think of dimensional, I think of size and a change of size. So to me, that's what dimension means. Not so much like, how they portray it in the movies, like it's on the same actual physical space as us. I mean, I think that, like, for example, in your body, there's dimensions in your body. There's creatures that live inside of your body. So that's their world. That's a whole another dimension to them, but it's microscopic. It's tiny. But the portals that exist, there's physical openings like the caves, like what I was talking about earlier. But the thing that separates and sort of locks out being able to traverse those cavernous systems is the electromagnetic field that the Earth naturally produces. And that electromagnetic field is so strong, people cannot penetrate it. They can't go through it. Nothing will go through those electromagnetic fields. And there are times whenever those electromagnetic fields go into flux or altogether disappear. And there's always anomalies and exceptions where people can find, where things can creep through from time to time, like Bigfoot or whatever.
Right, right.
But yeah, that when the electromagnetic field goes down during a polarity shift, or when it reaches the neutral point, anything could traverse. Anything can go from the underworld up here to the surface, vice versa, or past the dome if the dome opens up.
Right, to outside. What do you think about all this, Pops?
There's a lot going on. It's not what we've been told. It's not what we've been told. And again, I'm going to leave it to Brother Jay and my son Tommy Truthful to dig into that stuff, because me, I'm focused on that. I'm focused on that spiritual world. I'm focused on getting more people through ascension, getting people's vibration up, getting them to, because now manifestation, because of where we're currently at, manifestation's happening much quicker than it used to. I mean, much quicker. Whether it's good or bad, that's based on, what you're vibrating out there. But all of this stuff, it's just. I was telling Brother Jay, I was telling my son before you got on about, there's multiverses, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of different things happening simultaneously.
Mm-hmm.
And, we all are digging in. We all want that information. And as we, get to a higher and higher and higher vibration, as this earth goes, into the some of the friends that I have that are very powerful beings on this planet already say that we've entered the 5D, but the people haven't. But, where we're going is going to be 5D type of deal. The other people that are going to stay on that 3D path, they're going to just like kind of phase out of our existence, right? They're just going to, you call them, son, what are they called?
NPCs.
Yeah. And they're just going to dissolve out of our relation. But I just can tell you that the higher your vibration, the better your life. The more positive you are, the better your life. I mean, I live by one of the most beautiful oceans on the planet because I'm very positive and I put out massive positive vibration. And I do a lot of, I'm not going to get into how I help, but we help a lot of people. This information that you guys are talking about, it could be all of the above, right? Because we got so many different realities going on simultaneously. The flat Earth, the round Earth, the underground Earth, all of this stuff could be happening simultaneously in many multiverses. I mean, we could have a square Earth.
True.
We could have so many different Earth. We could have an Earth that's half fire and volcano. We could have so many different versions of this situation simultaneously. I believe we do. I believe we truly do. A friend of mine who you could tell, and I'm not going to mention name, TJ, you know who I'm talking about. I call him TJ also. They were working on the multiverses, and a lot of multiverses were coming together. And I know this might sound like crazy stuff, but a lot of things were like docking, right? Docking with each other, similar ones, making, docking together, and all this stuff going on with everything we got going on with this ascension that we're going through, so I was looking at what the amount of energy that was getting drained from this person. It was almost taking them out. I mean, it looked like the whole energy got drained out of their body just based on that. So I've heard it. I've seen things going on. There is a lot going on. And again, I'm laser focused on making sure that I'm at the highest vibration possible in order to be able to help as many people as I can get into that state, because that state it's going to open up a lot more knowledge, more knowing the truth from lies, right? Truth from lies, your discernment. And it's an exciting time. It's an exciting time to be alive and to be on this planet. We're all here for a real big reason.
Yeah,
real big reason.
Yeah, I vibe with that multiverse theory and all the worlds sort of crashing together, or the realities sort of mixing during this particular time right now. So I like to call it the fractal verse. And in my mind, I see that there's these other Earths. They're not like so much like different worlds or whatever, but they're other versions of this world, other Earths. And that they replicate code over and over and over. So it's literally the same place, just different experiences or different choices that are being made in different places that lead to different physical geography, different historic records, and things like that. which I think that helps to tie into a lot of other weird things that have been discovered and happening lately too.
Yeah, you're right on time. Do you watch that movie where they had the box, and they would go in there and they would shoot something? They would shoot something, and then they'd open a door, and they were in another Earth version of the Earth, and then another version of the Earth. Dad? It was great. I mean, I was like looking forward to that to coming out.
It was on Apple TV. Week. It was on Apple TV, Jay. I told you about it. They built this. Oh, that's gonna drive me nuts now.
I'm thinking of like 4 different things that sounds like.
Well,
they sounds like sliders.
No, it just came out on Apple TV. Go ahead, Dad. Keep talking. I'll find
it.
Well,
no, it was this guy who invented this. There were many versions of this guy.
Hollow Earth, Flat Earth, Simulation Theory, America.
Whoa, what's going on? Yeah, there it is. It's dark. What are you doing? It's dark. Yeah, you're talking, Steve. Hey, son, Tommy, you're talking, man.
I know. I'm trying to fix.
Yeah, just mute yourself. How about mute yourself, son, until you get it fixed? Yeah, dark matter. I think it was dark matter. Sister Kel is talking dark matter, and it was very interesting because they created this box that you could go into made out of this special material. They do this injection. The next thing you know, there's all these doors, and each door was a different version of Earth.
Yeah.
And one time they opened the door and they're underwater. Yeah.
I see. I'm checking it out right now. It's a black box?
Yeah, black box, yeah.
Of course. Okay.
Yeah, of course. And it was a trip. It was a trip. I don't know if they're coming out with another episode, but it was a trip. It then ended up where all of his versions of himself were all on one planet Earth, all going after their wife because they all felt that was their wife. And so it was very interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out. It looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
But the black boxes, it makes sense too.
What was
it called? Dark Matter.
Dark Matter.
Oh yeah, Dark Matter. Dark Matter. And guys, sorry about that. I didn't mean to have that going in the background when I tried to go look for that Apple TV series. It started doing that, so I apologize. But yeah, Dark Matter. I remember me and my dad was talking about it when it first came out. He was watching it with Mama and I was watching up here, and it was crazy, dude. It was whatever they were thinking when they opened that door inside the box, Jay. That's what type of universe they would go into. So if they were thinking something dark, it would be like a dark universe. You know what I mean? With crazy entities. They were
whatever you were thinking. Right, whatever you had to think if they didn't have the right mindset or the right thought in their mind, they would go walking into horror.
Yeah, and so that's like tuning. They're tuning into the frequency of that particular realm or version of Earth or whatever.
Yeah,
well, quantum physics proves all this that you guys are talking about. Quantum physics.
Well, quantum computers are opening up the spiritual realm. Okay, there's stuff going on with quantum computers right now that they are definitely accessing multiverses simultaneously because you can't break the things they're breaking in 5 minutes. It would take supercomputers. You can't even count the years. There are like so many zeros. Quadrillions is nothing to the amount of time it would take these supercomputers to crack that answer that this thing is cracking in 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And they are hitting the spiritual side. Quantum is real important. Like we know in our community, Step Into Your Power, we have quantum healers coming in. And they are doing things that are amazing, where people go in with blood work that looks like they're ready to check out. And then after a session, they go back and do their blood work, and it's sorted out. How you like that, Brother Jay?
Yeah.
Sorted out. Energy, all through energy healing, quantum healing. It's real. It's more real than anything else out there. It's more real.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I also, it makes me think of the implications too. So let's say that there is a multiverse and that there's other Earths, which means that there's other versions of us, at least, DNA matching and things of that nature, and possibly even like, spirit strings that connect you to your other versions of yourself.
100%.
Let's say, that means the odds are good that there's other versions of us. If we're here now having this conversation, wondering about those other versions, there be maybe many other versions of us wondering about us. And eventually that would lead to a discovery, that would lead to a meeting of ourselves, basically. So it may be that if that's correct, that whatever the system is that we live in, whether it be the mind of God or holographic or simulation or whatever it is, that there may be constructs or rules, like heavenly rules or space rules, or however you want to see it, in place to keep that from happening, because it could disrupt all these little isolated areas of experience that we call worlds, that we would all get together. I mean, what else? What would you want to do if you met, 10,000 versions of yourself, like all on one world or whatever? Like, I know what I want to do. I want to go have my own world, or go check them all out, or, like go travel around and explore and stuff. But that might not be, permitted or allowed or seen as good, because then the whole multiverse would go into chaos. It wouldn't be, each little system running on its own little life and death cycle, and everyone doesn't know about everyone else or whatever. And this could get into a lot of those, religious stories that also leak into our fantasy and our sci-fi and stuff.
Well, what you said, Brother Jay, there too, is, we are, let's say God. Now, God is, the point of origin of all that, where creation started, right? From the forethought. And then that creation happened. And that too made a creation. And then that creation made creation. We're making all this creation because we're created in the Creator's image, regardless of the name. The Indians called the Great Spirit, the Invisible Father, the good. I mean, there's so many different names, but it's the point of origin. It means nothing made it. It's always been here. It was the first thought of making something besides itself that had everything. Mm-hmm. We're all living in it, and it's living within us. And then all of our thoughts are creating all of these different creations. When I tell people, when I'm training and coaching people, everything that is in your reality is you're doing. It's from you. You got to look within inside yourself and understand that you are powerful. Start speaking beauty into your life, love into your life, create a beautiful situation. Right. And like you said, there could be so many more of us out there that decided to turn a different way or go a different path. And you were talking about, we all came out of that Creator, right? And that these splintered off in these different experiences we're having. Like, Brother Jay might be 10,000 people out there on different versions of Earth. Me too, Brother Jimmy too. It could be that way. We don't know exactly how it is, but we're very, very powerful beings. Some of us have been around here for a long time, a long time, been around many, many lifetimes and many things. And I believe Christ was the third from the Creator when the mother and the father got together and created the child. But that Christ has had many incarnations in many multiverses simultaneously to do what? To lead evolution, lead ascension, to move people forward, to get them into a higher plane. I mean, if you look at look at Christ's parables. That people will hear, but won't hear anything. They'll see, but they won't see anything. But if you really truly study the Christ that they talk about and what was going on in the Christ life that they don't talk about, we're talking about a lot of that stuff now.
And that's for me, that's the electromagnetics behind it, or the energy that always has a positive and a negative, and then a neutral to balance out the two. The positive force for me seems to be the one that is unifying and brings things together, selflessly, basically. And then the negative is always represents division and being separate, and walls and borders and boundaries, and like even keeping those worlds separate from one another, or you separate from your other versions of yourself or whatever, which is interesting to me because, there's that old maxim that says, know thyself. Maybe that's one of the goals, is, like to discover the you, or that exists everywhere.
Yeah,
But
the whole you, right? The whole you,
right.
because all, like you said, you're splintered out.
Yes.
You're
And I
splintered
think
out.
that it's easier for people that like okay, going back to like the hollow earth, right? I was talking about earlier how I believe that the energy is being collected in the hollow earth right now, or inside of the earth, that it's the earth is charging. So it goes through periods of charging the energy, in which case those that live on the inside or within the house benefit. So they have the most energy. And then whenever it dispels the energy, or it releases it, it comes up to the surface, and then we benefit from that. So the beings that benefit from that positive earth giving energy that goes by many different names, that they tend to be more in tune with nature and God, and more spiritual and more connected, deeper, more philosophical and things of that nature. And then whenever we're lacking that energy,
like 5D, what people think of, right, Jay?
yes, exactly. It's a very
Very
similar
similar.
concept. Yeah. And the
Sorry, I didn't
opposite
mean
of that would be the selfish energy, which is a low vibration. It's actually just energy on low. We're just low on energy, like low on gas. You know what I mean? So we're low on that energy, on that energetic charge, and it promotes what people have seen as like a sinful condition, or separation, or all the things that we have in the world today, like anxiety and disease and stuff. I mean, it manifests physically through separation at the cellular level. But that charge, I think this charge is a huge part of it, and I believe that charge is a part of Yggdrasil, or the world tree, the tree of life that runs through and connects all of these worlds. So all these worlds, see, in academics, they paint all the worlds and stuff as a very separate place. All those planets, they're all separate. They're all the stars, everything is separate and not connected at all. They're all free floating and just not touching each other. When I believe electromagnetically that there is spirit or plasma that charges and provides life to all of these places, and therefore it reaches out and runs through them, literally through the center of each world, as the branches of the great tree of life.
I agree.
Yeah, well, all interconnected, like, just like they were showing, in Avatar, where all of the trees and roots were connected into the heavens. This is all connected. This is all because, again, we are within the Creator, and the Creator's within us. So you're right. Everything in creation is within the Creator, all of it. And when I say Creator, I'm talking about point of origin. I'm talking about what's always been there, was not created. The thing that was not created, the Great Spirit, God. Well, you can't. God's not even a good enough name for
Right. Yeah.
that point, right?
Well, that's
So,
a made up thing. They made up.
well, again, I tell everybody it's not about religion. It's about relationship, connection.
Yeah.
That's what you want, and you got to spend time in doing that, and putting that time in for that. But that changes your life.
Yeah.
I mean, that changed your life.
I like that you seem to stumbled there when trying to describe the concept of God. In Taoism, they say that Tao is like the God, basically, but they said the Tao that can be discussed, the Tao that can be defined, is not the Tao or
right.
God.
It's
what I mean?
like there is no words that can describe.
Yeah, it would
what
have to
we're
be
talking
all
about.
words. It would have to be everything. You know what I mean?
Well, everything's in it.
Yeah.
And it's in everything.
Yeah.
So it is everything, right? It is everything. But you're right. That's because of the spiritual path I'm on, Brother Jay. Just like you, I can tell that you and I and my son absolutely have a very similar path that we're walking right now. And I love seeing people, getting into that, walking into their, step into their power, becoming the people that they're destined to be, walking in this version of you, in this earth, walking at the highest level that you can walk.
Yeah.
And doing things to help and just help as many people as you can, because it is that karma, it is that good seed that you're planting that strengthens your soul, strengthens that power, that spirit within you, right?
Yeah.
And so it's exciting. I'm very excited that my son introduced us, because there's a lot we can do together, all of us, to help, because once you bring people into the awareness, then what? you know, it's they got to start working on themselves in a big way and doing what they need to do to move up those vibrations and get to where we're going, because we're going somewhere in this version. We're going somewhere really nice. You know, what is Age of Aquarius? Pluto's in Aquarius. Well, go look at the last 2,000 years, go into Chat GPT and say, what has happened in the last 2,000 years when Pluto's in Aquarius for 20 years, by the way. It's 20 years it's going to be there. It'll blow your mind. Son, I think we did a show on that, didn't we? Where we went through and you did a post. It will blow your mind. And it's exciting. And everything that it says that goes on that period of time is happening right now and is accelerating.
Empires grow, empires fall, they crumble during this time. You know, it's a transition time when Pluto's in Aquarius. And, you know, that's why I knew, Dad, you and Jay would like each other, because he's very high vibrational as well. So, you know, I
love
knew.
it.
And Dom, are you in the house? Are you know, you've been in and out? I didn't know.
Yeah, I'm here.
I didn't know if you were teleporting over there or what was
No, I'm
going
here. I had
Hey,
to
what up,
sign
Dom?
in. What's happening? What's happening, man? How you been?
Good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm doing good.
Jay
I'm
and
I
doing
like your
good.
little picture. I don't know how you guys
show.
got your little icons on there. I don't.
It comes on, I think, when you turn your camera off.
Yeah, mine's not doing it. Whatever. I
Oh,
don't
Jay,
care.
I'll tell you.
Yours is
Look,
the best though. I like that little map at the center of the world.
Thank you.
if you go to edit audio avatar, Jay, you can put any picture you want in there. Where the three dots
Oh,
are,
okay.
you just edit audio avatar, then you can put any picture. Yeah, we kind of run it like an old school podcast. Pops used to come on the camera, then I made him a cool little thing right there. They think I'm
Yes, sir.
they think I got cloned, so you know people ain't seen me in a while. They think Tommy got
snap.
cloned.
Hey, the clone thing has to do with the underground too. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was just
Go ahead,
talking
go ahead.
with my son about that last night, and I brought up the movie The Island. Have you seen that with Scarlett
Ooh,
Johansson?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a
The
good one.
clones are all underground. That's the inner earth, man. And they're making clones down there. That's crazy. And plus, it's interesting to see like how the body responds as far as, you know, a woman creating babies and stuff when she's energetically charged or impregnated by nature or plasma or whatever. Like anyways, if a woman gives virgin birth, she will give birth to clones or twins every single time. It could be a boy and a girl or whatever, but they're still twins. And they're basically clones of the woman because there's no man to mix it up.
Oh, that's interesting. That's very fascinating. There's a whole clone theory with these cyclical resets, the Cabbage Patch Kids and stuff, right?
Yeah.
In the orphan trains. And could you talk
Right.
about that a little bit, Jay? Because I've always been very confused. I hear a lot about it, but I don't know much about it. So is that after these major events, they just clone a bunch of people or something?
Well, I think it's easy to give credit to them. You know what I mean? That's the easiest default that people jump to is they did it or humankind taking credit for it. I like to ask nature if she's capable of doing these things first before I just give all the credit to mankind or whatever. And I believe the answer is yes. The whole Cabbage Patch thing, people might not be aware of what it is, but you know, during the early 1900s, 1800s, you know, there was a lot of different portrayals of children being sold, being born, all these different children just sort of popping up out of nowhere. And they depicted them being born in cabbages, right?
Right.
The cabbage thing aside, there was a huge influx of young people and babies that were brought into this world that seemed to just pop up out of nowhere. The story is that they are orphans, that, you know, people couldn't handle their kids or what. I don't know what the story is supposed to be, but they're just orphans, just millions of orphans across the world suddenly all at one time. I don't buy that, but they're shown as being born out of these cabbages. I think the cabbage is symbolic for pods that people are grown in, basically. And if you watch any of the pod people type of stuff, you know, Gremlins, aliens, all this stuff. Like the creatures are born out of these sort of pods or biopods or whatever. And that's even in that movie, The Island, they have pods that they grow the clones in or whatever. But I think that a lot of that has to do with there's the hollow earth, which is way deep down, and then we have hollow areas of the surface world where we live that you can access right now that are beyond that electromagnetic barrier that I was talking about. All those areas are being, sectioned off and reserved for the government and the hidden hand and stuff like that. And that's where they're most likely have supercomputers that have dossiers on basically anyone and everything and everybody. And they're collecting DNA samples from everybody on the surface, and they can grow people. They're cloning people. If they're cloning animals, they're definitely cloning humans. And that's probably that's my theory on where all these crisis actors come from. I won't get in too deep into the different words, but you know what I'm saying, right? Like that's probably what they are. I'm guessing that they're clones. They're raised like that from birth. I'm going off. I'm sorry. Like it's all connected.
I agree with you though on that, because they seem to do things that normal people wouldn't do, like they're programmed or something. It reminds me too, when I was watching the documentary last night, they were talking about China when like communism rised up in Maoist China, how they kind of wiped out the older generation because it was easier to program the young kids when all the elders were gone. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, man, I wonder if that's what they do during these great reset type things, get rid of the older generation. And that's why we see the influx of all the kids. Or maybe it's something with the cloning too. They showed us that in that one movie. What was it? Not Get Out, Us. Us was kind of the people from underneath, remember? And they were kind of like our evil twin, and then they come up and try to take us out and kill us. They were like tethered to us somehow.
Yeah. I think that might be connected to the concept of Gog and Magog in the Bible and in Islam, where they talk about these two nations that seem to rise up out of the earth. Now, I think of it like this. I believe we go through electromagnetic shifts, and up here on the surface, we lack energy. So I call that the season of Satan. It's satanic, it's evil, it's a lack of energy and spirit. And so therefore, if it's true that the opposite world or the world beneath us would be the opposite charge, then they would be good. So we see them as evil, and all the evil governments of this world are getting ready to go to war with like some race of beings that are going to rise up out of the earth and creatures and all kinds of stuff. But maybe they're not actually evil. Maybe they just are seen that way by our government, who's training us and conditioning us to get ready to fight the aliens or whatever.
Or whatever they are. What do you think about that, Dom?
Well, I kind of agree with it, but in my perspective, when you trace these people by their DNA, then a lot of the races that we think are multiple races really are the same. Like,
what was you telling me earlier about when we were talking about the lost tribes of Israel? You said the Incans were the Inca.
Yeah, the Inca was on the original list of the 12 tribes. They were the ushers, but when they showed the list, they not mentioned no more, and they rewrote history.
That's fascinating, because when I was looking at these signs of the last days and in the scripture with the Mormons, it talks about hollow earth and the lost tribes of Israel and different tribes that would be sacrificed. And like, it was blowing my mind when I was getting into some of this stuff, dude, and how the 10 tribes return in the end days. And it's all backed up by scripture. I didn't know the Mormons were that deep into it, but Dom, it's like you're a melanated brother, and they try to lump all races in one group, and that's just not what it is, right?
Right. Because there's a difference between me and what they like to call African American.
Exactly.
We're not the same. And that was the point that that I'm getting to is where, like, even when you trace it all the way back as far as hypothetical Atlantis or Atlanteans have genetically have African origins. So there's a story that they like to hide, but they put it in the one place that people wouldn't look, and it's in a comic book. And it talks about how Atlantis fell and who the people were, and how the inner wherever Atlantis was didn't have the minerals that we had up here. And it says, follow the ice wall, and once you go through the ice wall, go to the new lands and colonize the new lands so our race can survive, is what it says in the comic book. And the boat that they have, that they drawn for the Atlanteans to take out, to leave, is a Viking ship. But Vikings are originally African origins. They were sent there by Pharaoh Akhenaten's daughter. 3 Egyptian kings were sent to Britain, Scotland, and Ireland, and they're the original founders of the United Kingdom. That's how they formed. They flags are even a thing. So when you say Britain or British people, Australian people, African, Japanese, Chinese, Australian, all of these people genetically all have African origins. So what does that tell you?
What's it tell us?
It tells us the little verse in the Bible when they say they might look like you, they might talk like you, but they are not you. They are the synagogues of Satan. That's the difference between me and an African. That's why Africans don't like people of my skin color, because they not us. And if they were us, and if I was them, then how can they go and get all of these grants, loans, and all of this money, but I can't go in there and do the same things? And on their ID, it actually says race. It says Caucasian on an African's ID. Yeah, it says race. It says Caucasian. But see, we've been tricked to think that black and white is a skin color, and it's not. It's a status.
That's interesting. If that's true, I got this Kenyan chick that lives down the hall from me. I'm about to go holler at her later tonight. I got to check her ID out. I need to see that. I need to ask her.
Yeah, when you see it, it's what it's going to say. It's going to say race. It's going to say Caucasian. It's not going to say African American. It's not going to say black.
So you think the Incan people were melanated people, black people? Well, and I hate, using that word, because it's like you said, white, black. It's just a construct they gave us. That's why I say melanated. And and then the whole America was really filled with melanated people before anybody even came over here, right?
Right.
That's your theory. And there was actually Dom thinks this was really the Holy Land, Pops. This was really Israel, Egypt. There is a lot of evidence that backs that up too, man. Remember, Jay, we did a podcast on it with Dom before?
Yeah, and they left, and that's what they do. They leave little pieces and make you think that it was just like something that, just was a coincidence. Like when they was like, oh, by the way, Abraham Lincoln went to Egypt, but Abraham Lincoln didn't go nowhere but to Egypt, Illinois. And if you see pictures of Egypt, Illinois at that time, guess what animal is native to the United States that's not native to Egypt?
What?
A camel. Camels are native to the United States, not Egypt. So ask yourself, how did they get all the way over there, but they ain't over here no more? And like I told you, the Mississippi River is the name that they gave it. That is the Nile River, because that is the only river on the planet that, if you go biblically, that splits into 7 different rivers. It's not the one over there. It's the one right here. It's the Mississippi.
Jay talks about something with 7 rivers too, tied to Hyperborea, ain't there, Jay?
Yeah, there's one on the map that you got on your icon, actually.
Yeah, and that's why I was gonna say something about that, because when you get to the point where you see my little red arrow, the word is pygmies, and if you translate it from, I think it's Latin, you translate it from Latin to English, it's the land of the fairies, dwarfs, gnomes and trolls. Hence why they gave you the movie The Lord of the Rings with the small people and Frodo and them going to the mountain and throwing it in the hole. It's yeah, it was actually a real place. That's what that translates to.
Well, Jay will probably know the etymology of that word because that is his specialty.
I
He
mean,
is
the first
very
thing I
good.
think of is pigment. That sounds a lot like pygmy,
Yeah,
right?
pigment.
And they say that
Patience.
so the dwarves and the Skrælingers and the little people and stuff, they were known to live inside the earth. So they came up out of, you know, this particular area. So I have a theory about that land at the North Pole, that one side of it is it's all electromagnetic, and one side, if it is, would be positively charged, one negatively charged. One side the people would grow to be gigantic, the other side people would grow to be smaller, like the mushroom in Alice in Wonderland. And you know, the pygmies and stuff, if indeed they're pigmented and not just like little tiny Caucasian people as they're drawn during the Middle Ages, um that aligns with what I've studied about a lot of the like the Native Americans, especially, but different tribes, especially those that have a red tint to them. They always said to come up from within the earth, and so
Yep.
it seems like we have the inner earth, quote unquote, race, which from my studies tends to be more of a red color, although it depends, you know, there's always exceptions. It depends on where you live and the light that you're exposed to, because there's a different light source down inside the earth. And there's a whole case of like the green kids that, you know, came up out of the earth too.
Yeah, that
But
book.
they say that in general, the red people came up within the earth. And then you have the native people, the native surface people that live on the surface of the earth, which is a darker skin, because then we have a point of focus, the sun, that is, you know, causing people's skin to change, and they have to adapt to the sunlight because that's the
So
light
where
up
the
here.
hell do we come from then? The Aryans. Where do we come from?
You fell
Somewhere
from the
else?
heavens. No,
That's
they're
what they say.
so I mean, there's different perspectives on, you know, like on different things, but in general, I think that the creatures that come from beyond the dome, from above, tend to be described as albino, colorless. They don't have any color. They have no melanin at all,
Well,
and so they
like the
come down. They're very
engineer
white.
Prometheus, right?
Eh,
The engineer
from
from
yeah. Oh,
Prometheus,
you
they
mean the
were
movie?
super white.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah,
It's 100% just like that. So those
yeah.
are the fallen ones. Those are the, you know, if you see them as evil, they would be white devils essentially. If you see them as good, they would be white angels, or however you want to see it. But they fall down, they come down or float down into this world once the firmament opens up. They come down. They land at the North Pole. There's already people. The North Pole is a mixture, in my mind, of all the different, you know, regions and the people that come from those different regions, because there's Mount Meru at the center, which is a huge opening and entrance into the inner earth. So those people come up from within Mount Meru and other openings in the area in the Septentrion. And then you have the surface people, those who live south of the North Pole all the way around, that migrate home, and they go to the Holy Mountain, and they make camp at the center of the world. And at the same time, you have the people or the beings that have figured out space travel or fractalverse travel or multiverse jumping, or however you want to say it, and they come down from above and they land. Everybody meets right there.
My Cherie likes your accent, Dudley Jefferson. And that's that Midwest accent we got out here. He lives he doesn't live far from
Thank
me,
you.
actually. But Pops, you know, I know you got a lot to do, and I want to let you promote this Step Into Your Power, and then we'll carry on a little bit after you got to dip out. Because my dad he created this amazing platform. Jay, I don't think you've seen it yet, but it's really thriving. It's all about higher vibrational energy, like you're into, and Dom, you need to join it too, bro. I better see you over in there. So, Pops, would you like to take this time and, you know, walk people through that a little bit before you got to go, and then we'll carry on a little more with
Sure.
the inner stuff.
Sure. Okay, hold
There
on
you go,
one
Jay.
second.
There you go. Now I see.
Hold on
That's the
one
picture I
second.
have of you, I think, autographed, ain't it?
Can you see it now? Wait a minute. Let me stop sharing. Let me go to the other window. I need to open it up here real quick.
This is my favorite community though, because every time I do
Well, it's
it,
on fire. It's on fire. Okay, they're gonna see that right now. It's on fire in a good way. Healings are happening. Great things are happening in there, and it's just going to get bigger and better for everyone in it. So, get in it to win it. If you want to win it, get in it. Costs you nothing. There you go.
free.
So
And hit that
it's
like
free.
button, guys. It's free too, I promise. If you hit the like button, it won't charge your debit card. It's
Yeah.
100%.
The like and the share. How about the like and the share?
Yeah. Go
All
ahead
right.
and hit.
So I like to have, because I'm on the computer a lot, so I like to go over here, and this is my kind of like training account, because my admin account shows things that you don't. So I like to always turn mine to the dark view. Not that I'm part of the light, but because of my eyes, I like to do it like this. But it does look very pretty like that. But there's a lot going on in here. We have, hundreds and hundreds of interactions going on. It's only been, we just did a soft launch on April 30th, and already all kinds of things are going on. And if I go to my admin, let me go to my admin real quick. I want to do that because I can show all the stuff that's going on that I can't see in the demo account. The demo, like I just made a user that's a demo, right? So,
and that's where I do special posts over there, guys, that are all high vibrational posts. Content over there that I don't share anywhere else.
Right there is one right there. Look at this: the organic mother matrix versus the artificial matrix. Here's this song that my son Tommy created for this power. I actually named the song, didn't I, son?
I named it something stupid, and then my dad renamed it.
I named it "The Power Is Mine." It's on fire. People love it. What he did for my birthday was wonderful. These are the top posts that are happening. These are going to be members.
The organic mother matrix one, I put a lot of work in versus the artificial matrix.
I mean, you've got a lot. You've got a lot of good people starting to comment on this thing, and that's really awesome. There's a lot of good comments on here. I didn't even see those. I love everybody. The more loves you get, the more you get. The more you give, the more you get. But the way we're putting this together, and this is divinely controlled. There's no doubt about it. I mean, what my son's doing in here, what Sister Honey's doing in here, what Brother Brad's doing in here, what myself is doing in here is the guardian of the system, and what's happening with other guides that are coming here. We're talking quantum healers. We're talking Reiki masters. We're talking people that have been doing this for decades. Get ready for more miracles, more blessings, financial healings, all kinds of stuff, and increased frequency and vibration to step into your power. That's important. But the discovery, this is kind of like a dashboard where you can see what's going on as far as what sections
top members. Some of you guys that are in the chat, you can probably see yourself right there. Like
I don't want to really get into all. I want to say, look what's going on. Bam, 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 bam. It's just going on. It's growing. It's growing. Go here to begin here. That's where you land. You just walk through the steps. And you got steps on the side too. Like I showed, it'll pop up, not on mine because I've done them all, but you have the steps here. I'm continuing to optimize this, that have it help you right down to the return. What this does is this shows you how to use these portals. So these are portals, the power portal. These are all the things under the power portal. So, so it goes through and explains all of that to you, showing you how to use it. So it doesn't take that long to go through all of this stuff to learn how to use this and this. And if you're at a seeker stage, meaning where are you? Where are you at? So
I did my quiz the other day.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people. You go in here, you answer these questions truthfully. Do some breathing, answer them truthfully, and then you're going to be either waking up. And then guess what? Here's the things you need to start when you're waking up. Get through that. Get to doing that every couple days. Get to doing it. To why? Because you want to move up to the next stage and do that. And then you want to do the next stage and then do that, and then you want to go to the next stage. Mama,
That's
you know, sister, I'm there and beyond, by the way.
I'm
And it's not,
definitely
but my wife is here. She admits it. She posted down here. So imagine being my beautiful wife, who I love with all my heart, my soul, and everything. She's my soulmate. She's there in this carnation, and her husband is beyond this. So imagine that. All you got to do is look at the prayer request, and you're going to see what's going on, because she's open and honest and all of that. And then people that take that quiz, like, you're going to see like all the comments that are coming in and people opening up. Know where you're at. You got to know where you're at in order to get to where you want to go.
Show them the feed, the circle.
Well, yeah, the circle here is where you've got chats going on. You've got you post where you can post good information. This is a positive portal. You know, myself as the guardian, and my son is a guide, and other guides that are going to be joining. Again, we got Reiki masters. We got all kinds of beautiful Tai Chi. We got all kinds of beautiful spiritual leaders coming in here, and there'll be more and more guides getting added to this to help guide everybody, you know, through their ascension and get them on that other side of expanding. Why? Because we need more people to get involved in ascension mastery, because they're giving from overflow. They have so much, it's overflow they're giving from, and we're going to build spiritual leadership and guides around the planet. Okay. And we're going to anchor this current reality we're all living in. We're going to shift this whole thing together. Okay. And so this thing is, yeah, it's going to happen. I love Brother Brad's there. Other brothers will be joining us. Here I am talking on my porch, like all the guides that are doing any kind of training post, all of them will always be in the featured post, so you can get easy access to that. Very easy access. But you can post in here too. When you become a guide and you're posting something that people need to absorb in their field, because it's going to help improve it, then it's going to be featured. Okay. And we have a plan here like no other. This is a divinely guided plan that's being downloaded through us, that is going to create people that do stuff on this planet that's never been seen since Christ walked it.
I like it.
Yeah, and it's going to be on fire. I don't have to do any of this. I'm already stewarding such an amount of assets that I can retire for the rest of my life. But this is a mission, a movement, a moment in time that I was brought back here for. And that's why Brother Jimmy's the guardian. And there'll be thousands of guides, tens of thousands of guides, hundreds of thousands of guides, millions and tens of millions of people will be in this platform. Okay, because this place.
Song, guys.
Well, I mean, right here also prayer requests. You need prayer? Put it down. I do. I'm in here. I asked for prayer for my wife. If I need prayer personally, Doggy got some prayer. Look at what happened. Read it. You don't need to hear Brother Jimmy talking about it. Just read it. But guess what? The link is in the description. It's 100% free for the Power Portal, for the Prayer Circle, for the sacred solutions that we use, like the Body Line Energy Wellness solutions with the EMF protection. I'm part of that company. I'm very open about that. I've been involved in it since 2016. It's been around since 2012. It's going to be the world's best energy wellness company on this planet. It's already been prophesied by many people, and that's where it's headed, and it's helping, making sure that we can keep the Power Portal free, all of these portals free until you get into the Ascension Mastery, and then it's less than $1 a day. And that's where we're going to be training guides. That's where we've got this stuff going on, and we're working with guides. We're working with those people that are in that expanding stage to give from overflow, and we're going to take this planet. The Creator's taking this planet back, this reality that we're in right now. So again, it's easy. You know, all you need to do is click on the link. My son, I think he has the automatic join link, and then you know, there you go. Right?
It is in the description. So, you know, guys, go join. Take a second, join. We really appreciate that, and it's an amazing community. Jay, hopefully I'll see you over in there so I can see you do.
Well, I'd like to talk to Brother Jay about what we're doing. I think we could do some synergistic work together, and we can help him grow, and he can help us. We got 1.2 million in the Patriot Network, right? So we've got a lot going on, but again, my mission is to help as many people get into the highest vibration as possible. And a lot of guides will be in there with their different things that they got offering to help people. And, that's wonderful. We want people to, again, step into their power. That's what it's all about.
Yep. Beautiful, beautiful mission, Dad. I really love what you're doing. I love how pumped up and, you are about it. That makes me excited about it. And I know all the energy and hard work you've put into it. And it just makes me really be proud to be a part of it.
Well, it's about the purpose of it, right? And when all you got to go in there and do is read it, and you'll see what's going on in there. It's not about me. It's about the community, and it's about all of us together. And it's just like my mastermind webinars. We just put that into a community. I'm going to be bringing out my training to everybody with Brother Jared, and they're going to be able to join for free too. And where we're teaching people how to utilize AI to your advantage, how to build a foundation. I've been building online businesses for 30 years. I started when it was 1995 and it was front page. So I've been programming, marketing, optimizing, and we've done tremendous amounts of money. And
Jay taught me a lot of the AI stuff, Dad.
You got to be paying attention to it. You better be paying attention to it, right, Jay? Brother Jay. I mean, people need to utilize it. Utilize it for good. Utilize it for good.
I totally agree.
He's good at making them videos, man.
Well, it's important because there's going to be a big shift in the way that things are operating on this planet when it comes to careers, and you better be on this stuff, or you're going to be left in the dust. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm deploying it, and I'm going to continue to deploy it, and I'm going to stay on top of it. And AGI, which has been around for decades, just like AI, artificial superintelligence, the black ops have had it forever. 40 years or something like that, around there. But now AGI is coming out public. And when you got an AGI that can run a bunch of AI agents, oh my gosh, and they work, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, never tired, always optimizing and perfecting everything.
And that brings about, I think that it's going to actually bring value back to our humanity, because there's value in being human. There's value in what we have to offer, as opposed to what computers are. If computers become the majority, AI becomes the majority, then there's suddenly value in actually. It's like if you're trying to talk to a company, you're saying, I just want to talk to a human, put a human on the phone or whatever. That's how valuable we are. And so that there's valuable in this conversation that we're having as organic human beings that are sharing our own human experiences and thoughts, as opposed to supercomputers, just, left brain, all calculations and whatever.
Right.
I agree with that.
And more and more now, people have these digital clones that look just like them, talk like them, blink like them, everything's like them, everything. And they're now building YouTube channels that are blowing up, and it ain't even them.
Yeah, they make more money than we do.
Yes,
it's not even a real person. It's not even a real person. And people think I'm freaking cloned.
Well, you're not cloned, son. But at the end of the day, it's been a pleasure meeting you, Brother Jay, and Brother Deadly. I forget your first name, but nice meeting you too.
It's been a pleasure meeting you.
You boys have a wonderful time together, and Papa Truthful's going to be out. I've got some more stuff I got to do. Jay-Z, I'd like to talk to you, on another day. Not Jay Dreamer, not Jay-Z, because Jay-Z might not be around too much longer. But who knows what's going to happen there as all that exposure is coming out. But it's all good, man. It's all good. It's the best time to be alive. We're all here for a reason, so let's get to that reason. So take care, boys. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Dad. Love you, man. Thanks for coming on today.
You're very welcome.
So let's get back into inner earth, and that's interesting what my dad said about Jay-Z, because we're on YouTube, so I'm going to keep this very PC. But did you see, Jay, the video that's going viral that they showed the inside of the how do I say this without saying his name? The island house, the guy that was on the island that
Yes.
passed in jail. They showed the inside of his house, and he had some weird pictures in there. Did you see that, Jay? Yeah,
No.
the first time ever they've showed some videos going viral from Project Veritas, and it's crazy, man. Right now, like I don't care about seeing the inside of this dude's house. What I want to see is that freaking list. Show me the list. That's what I've been waiting to see. I ain't seen it yet. And I remember them people when this all first broke out. There was these kids that snuck on that island, dude, and they ran up to that temple. Remember the alleged temple? It was all cardboard and painted on. It was fake. I swear to God. They got a whole video. They're touching it like, wait, this ain't even real. There's no doors on here. The window's fake. It was like, it looked like a Hollywood prop, dude. So it's very interesting. What the hell is really going on there? Is that, I wonder sometimes, is that a distraction? Because what's really going on with these cyclical resets, they just want to keep us distracted with anything they can keep us distracted with, as long as we're not focused on, hey, look up in the sky. Then they made that Netflix movie to make fun of us. Don't look up. You know, it's like they were like clowning us and shit.
Yeah,
But I don't know,
man. The whole subject of it, I mean, it's deep and there's truth and stuff, but I look to the day whenever the fire of God descends down upon that freaking region of the world and burns the crap out of it until there's nothing left, and there's not even a energetic signature memory of whatever happened there, man. Because
I agree.
To me, it's so base. All the things that comes with, you know what I mean? It's not like, it's not worth investigating or whatever. To me, I'm just my righteous side. I light
know.
up, dude.
I get what you're saying. But maybe that's what the plasma is. It's God's way of purifying things. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like
I think
like
so,
them
yeah.
type.
But I mean, well, there's different kinds of plasma too. There's different frequencies, you know what I mean? So you got different kinds of light, different kinds of energy. And,
some of it gives us power. Some of it people will be destroyed.
Yeah. So there's those who take energy, right? That's the world that we live in today, which is a consumer-based world. We consume. We literally have to kill other things so we can continue living, and we steal the life force from other things, whether
That's
it be
crazy.
Animals or people or plants or whatever. But in a world that's energetically charged and amplified all the time, there's no need to consume. There's no need to go around stealing the life force from other people or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it gives a clear mind and a clear spirit, a clean slate for at least a period of time.
Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, it's just crazy, man, with everything going on in the world today. Like, it's too much to almost take it all in, Jay, because every day there's like a new huge story. And I kind of wonder if it's engineered to be that way. So we don't know what the heck to believe.
Yeah.
But Dom,
well, a lot of go ahead.
Go ahead, buddy. Go ahead. Finish up first.
I was just going to make note that a lot of the islands that we have, are connected to volcanoes, which are basically entrances into the earth, down into the earth, whether they be blocked off through lava or whatever, or opened up, there's still entrances. There's still pathways that go down into the earth. And you see a lot of strange animals, inner earth animals, and even people that came up out of these particular regions. I call them places of power. And that's why, certain islands and certain volcanoes, this is why people live around volcanoes, I believe. And why you have animals that can't even swim, like stuck on these different islands that were not brought there. They just are native to these particular places. There's even a mammoth island where they found all the woolly mammoths and stuff, up in the north.
For real?
But there was.
They say that's where the dragons come from too, dude. Hollow Earth. What do you think about that?
I think I see dragons on two different levels. I see serpents, which to me are plasma. The Naga, the serpents, the serpent beings, the dragon, the fireworms. To me, that's plasma.
Right.
That is exoplasm or ectoplasm. It doesn't have a body. It doesn't have a corporal body to act as spirit and to drive around, right? But then I see otherworldly creatures that we associate with our modern concept of dragons, like, you know, giant lizards or reptilians that have gigantism, and they're literally gigantic. Like, you know, the Komodo dragon is a small version of what could be in a world with gigantism. So you have terrestrial creatures, the creatures that we're used to, insectoid, reptilian, mammalian, etc. Those exist, or are, it may be that they exist also in different versions and sizes and stuff within the earth in a different environment and out there in the heavenlies, that there are heavenly creatures as well. And then I was also just going to make the point too, because Don brought up the Inca, and I remember that came up in my studies as well, because I'm really interested. I'm going to do a video soon about these mythic cities, especially the mythic cities of paradise, or mythic cities of gold or value, or the fountains of youth and stuff. That it seems to me that was the main motivator behind the age of exploration, when most of Europe mostly was, you know, out there exploring and trying to take over the lands and stuff. That they're not out there looking for spices and cinnamon and sugar and, you know, cinnamon toast crunch ingredients. they're looking for things of real value, which is that provides more life to the person, which is the fountain of youth and paradise and stuff. But the Inca have their own version of that. It's called Paititi, which is very interesting to me because it's got the tet in the name. But I just brought up a little bit here. I'll read it to you real quick. It says, a legendary hidden city or a kingdom believed to be filled with gold, located somewhere in the remote jungles of the East Andes. And this was their version of Cibola. This is their version of Shambhala, of the Garden of Eden, a paradise-like place or whatever. And whenever the explorers came there, and they came into the Incan territory, they kept asking and pressing about where this Paititi was. And all they could say is, it's north of here. So every single time, these explorers were told by the locals, oh yeah, that legendary city, it's further north. And so every time these explorers would pack up and go check it out and go look for it. You know what I mean? They would go north. They just never went far enough north, but they would go up, you know, into like,
that's crazy.
The regions
you
northern.
Said that you say it's north, because I don't know which one of these slides it's in. But
funny.
that's exactly what they talk about with the 10 tribes of Israel, that they came from the north, Jay. That the far north. Which one is it?
I told you.
Yeah,
I told you.
What's your thoughts on that, Dom?
Because that's what I was saying about the original list. The original list, it even has like how can I put this to, because we on YouTube. Let me think. The crayon color, the opposite of the dark one.
Right.
They have that listed as its own particular tribe too.
Do they?
Yeah, I've seen the list. Like I said, I got the pictures. I just have to find them, and all of them. Like I have the original list and the list that they show the world, and the Inca were taken off. I think they were like number 7 or 6 on the list, and they are completely wiped out of history. The only thing that you kind of find about the Inca is about when they was conquered, and the statue, I think that's in New York, with Theodore Roosevelt and the guy standing next to him on the horse. That's the only representation that they even put the Inca in the story of history. That's what even made me even look into them, was because y'all just gave this little brief part about them And if you look at how the Inca were, there's no way that you just give us this small piece of the story. Like, that's just not going to work, because they did too much and had too much for you just to give me this small piece, because that's where all the gold was at. They literally walked on it. Like, it was in the ground. They drew on it. They played with it. They didn't even have a money system. So
Right.
that's where
It's great. Right here's the thing, Dom, where it says that it says it was. I guess it's tied to the Mormons. The angel. I can't even pronounce that angel's name. Jay, help me out. The angel, Morni.
Most people say Moroni.
Moroni. The angel
It's really a
Moroni.
Moroni, but everybody says Moroni.
Jay's good at pronouncing things. Told Joseph Smith in one of their visits together that the 10 tribes had been in the land of the North for a long time. Interesting, ain't it? Because
Yeah.
Jerusalem is north.
yes.
Maybe
So see, because here's the thing that everybody see, they did good. Like Jay said, Tommy, do you have control of that picture? Like, can you maneuver it on the screen? Because this is very important.
No. What do you mean? Like move it back and forth or something?
Anything. Like, can you move it, twist it, turn it? Can you do any of that?
Yeah, if you hold down control and then you scroll up on the mouse, it'll zoom in, and then you should be able to move the
Because
screen.
while you doing that, I'm going to emphasize the fact this is the the biggest coup that they ever pulled. They
On
taught
this picture
you,
that I'm on,
yeah, with the map of the United States. They taught you north, south, east, and west, but
right?
the compass and everything that they gave you is completely wrong. You do overstand, not understand, because you're not under anything. So you do overstand what I'm saying, right?
Right.
So what I'm
Yes.
trying to say is,
inverted.
right. So when you flip everything, that means the whole continent. Then what we call North America is considered now South America, and South America is actually your North America.
I get it.
And when you flip the map, the original old maps that they hid and the ones that they have that you got to go through them to look at, everything that you see is flipped upside down. And when they talk about where they came through the Barren Straits, then you have to understand that the map that they gave you is a complete lie, because they always show you Russia is way on the other side of the world in any map that you've ever seen it. But what if I told you that when you're standing in Anchorage or Fairbanks, Alaska, which is almost the furthest point north that you can go and still be in the United States, what if I told you can look like right across the water, like looking right across the street, and that's 39 miles away from Russia?
For real?
So for real, I have a friend named James. He lives in Alaska. I talk to him every day. He can look across out of his backyard and see Russia, and it's only 39 miles away. So y'all got some explaining to do, because the maps that you show us and then the actual maps from like the 1100s, the 1200s, or even when they switched it, I think it was in like around the time after they did the Louisiana Purchase, around between the 800s and 900s, y'all completely flipped the map and gave us what we see now, but the map is actually upside down. It's the other way. So what you consider us, Tommy, since where we are in Ohio, we consider Illinois, Chicago, Canada, all of that, us going north, when in reality, that's us actually going south, because north is south and south is north. Just like nobody caught on to the fact that when we had that eclipse that happened, and they told you that when it got to the United States, as you can see on the map, where it says the Great Sea, that's where the eclipse first hit the United States for them to film it, for us to see it. If that is correct, then How is it that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west if the eclipse is coming from the west going east? Because at the end of the eclipse, they said it would end in New York City. So that means that, like I said, north is south and west is actually east and east is actually west. Because, like I said, the maps are flipped. They're inverted. They know this. And I have all of everything that I'm saying. I have all of the evidence to back this.
No, I'm with it. I'm with it, dude. I believe they lie, and I know everything is inversion. So I'm with you. I can get on. I can get on board with this whole America being the real Holy Land, and
In Mecca,
I'm
Mecca
down
is
with
in
it, bro.
Indiana. Mecca is in
For real?
Indiana.
Well,
For
I'm in
real. I have it
Babylon.
screenshotted.
I'm in Babylon. Jay, where you at? Jay would be in Edom, right? Where? So Moab or Edom, Jay? What would you be in?
Probably Moab.
Moab, I guess. Jay's probably in the safest place if this whole pole shift shit or whatever it is, plasma event happens. Because why did all the governments go out there and build all them underground dumbs under the
Oh.
Colorado
Oh,
airport? They know something not going on out there. You know what I'm saying?
I
I
want to,
think.
right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, finish what you were saying, because I just want to hit on what Jay, when he said something about what is it, Cebula? What did you say, Cebula?
Yeah, Cibola.
Yeah, Cebula. And they was talking about it being north. Yeah, it is north.
Oh yeah,
It's
that's
it's
Cibola
the
and
United
all of them.
States. It's in the United States, and it's in the one place that everybody go to that's into going to travel. It's the Lincoln Monument. That's the entrance to Cibola. That's why they did that, to cover the entrance to the city. And all you gotta do is just like go to the top, climb up there. There should be like, it looks like a rock, but it's not really rock, and you can press a button and it'll open. Like they think they slick. Everything that they
So
done, they stole.
somebody asked about the 7 rivers that come off the Mississippi. If that's so, you say the Mississippi is really the Nile, then?
Yep. And right in Memphis, Tennessee, they got a pyramid of one of the pharaohs that sits right on the Mississippi River. And then if you go over in Egypt, the same pharaoh that sits in Memphis sits in Egypt too, right on the
Oh yeah, they
Mississippi.
do. They do got hella pyramids in America. I found a whole map of all these pyramids.
Yeah,
There's tons
I
of
was
them, dude.
I was gonna hint on that too. That if you, for people who don't have a hard time wrapping their head around this, you can ask for the people who believe in Google so faithfully. I'll let you Google it. Ask Google, where is all the most pyramids located in the world, and it's not going to tell you Egypt. It's going to tell you the United States.
That's
That's what it's
pretty
going to tell you.
crazy. So
And
Ohio,
Utah and
we're
Utah
in
and the
Babylon
flats.
in Ohio. A lot of the pyramids, it seems like they put them in the shape of whatever is above us. Whether they're lights, water, stars. I don't know what the
Yeah.
hell they are going on up there. But they put them pyramids in that same shape. It ties into Orion. What do you think Orion is? What do you think it is, Jay? What's your opinion on that?
Personally,
Yeah,
I believe Orion is the same as Enki. I think it's the beam of light that comes up out of Mount Meru, the spirit man that people see in the sky, plasma man or whatnot. The name Orion literally means of the light, essentially. So Or means fire or light, and then E means like place of or my, and then On is just a Phoenician Hebrew suffix that means of the. But I have a theory that it might be the inverse. It might be that the stars are actually replicating what's already down here on the earth.
Oh.
And we look up and we go, oh man, the pyramids look just like Orion. But perhaps it's Orion that looks just like certain patterns that are down here on the earth whenever these
like a
you know
reflection.
these beams of light shoot up into the onto the firmament.
That's
and mark
interesting.
it or scar it.
That's an interesting theory there. That could be. There's definitely a fascination with Orion, dude. Even like World War II, the little mustache man and his German troops, they said they put a lot of them death camps in the shape of Orion too. And I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, it's something weird's going on.
And there's also like the different, like you said, the different pyramid complexes, especially the ones that follow the shape of like the Great Pyramid complex in, you know, that's the most popular known one, is the one that's in Egypt. But they have that same shape where the biggest pyramid will be on the right or on off to one side, a smaller pyramid off to the center, and then a sort of a medium one right there in the middle. And for me, that implies, you know, an anode and a cathode on either side of the center path, of the center point. And if you have an electrolytic system, the anode and the cathode, one will always get larger as the other one gives electrons away to it and chemicals to it. It's a transfer of energy. And then the names of these places too. Like for example, there's a pyramid complex from the Aztecs called Tenochtitlan.
Yeah, that's a weird.
You heard of that one? Yeah.
Yep.
So it literally has the name of Enoch. It's the city of Enoch in the name. If you look at it, it literally means the land of Enoch, or Enoch's land, or the land of. It's the Tet land of Enoch, and the Tet represents that circular quadrant at the North Pole.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is that the first picture, right? That's the first picture, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, Enoch named his son after a city, and then you translate that to English, that translates to Memphis. I just wanted to point that out. Yes, it does. It translates to Memphis.
Have you guys ever heard that all of our words are backwards? Have you ever heard that, Jay?
Yeah, the whole alphabet's upside down and backwards.
So they say like okay, Orion, right? It would really be Noiro, the real word. So what the hell would that mean then? Yeah, that's what they say that are. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've been looking at words lately and trying to figure that out. Like, I wonder if they did like all of our words are some type of spell and they write it all inverted, because like everything seems to be inverted in this reality. So Giza, Giza would really be Azig,
right?
Like we're not even saying these words right.
Well, if we go electromagnetically and energetically, it would represent the opposite of whatever it reads forward. So, for example, Orion read forward, as I translate it, means of the place of light when you read it forwards. Right. But whenever you read it backwards in English, it would say no Iro. And Iro to me sounds a lot like hero or kiro or chiro, which means essentially like that's where we get the word hero from. And but it basically means like a being of power. So it's the exact opposite of Orion, which is a powerful being. It says no hero or no Iro.
Oh, wow, that's interesting. And that's probably what it really means. Everything's freaking inverted, dude. They're pretty nifty. They're pretty slick little bastards how they invert everything. You know, it's quite fascinating. And remember in I know both of you guys are big fans of King Kong Godzilla, so am I. And in Godzilla, so Kong had them certain humanoids that worshipped him, right? He protected them. But then there was the humanoids that worship.
Hold on. Not to cut you off. If you got to tell it, Tommy, you got to tell these people right. Them people that you're talking about, that's the Inca people.
Okay. Well, yeah, they had the pyramid down there, but there's some of them that worship the reptilians that I forget the name of them. It started with an A, but they were supposed to be like a representation of the Anunnaki. You know what I'm talking about, Dom?
I think in Kong versus Godzilla.
Yeah, they only mentioned them briefly, but I guess they worship the reptilian. But Godzilla's really not bad. He protects us.
Yeah.
They kind of like that, and him and Kong are kind of homeboys, really, towards the end. When you watch the last one, they're kind because Kong's sad that Godzilla's gone, and then he goes up to the earth.
It's rules to this.
He seemed
It's
pretty
rules.
sad. He thought
It's
that
rules to
frog was
this.
Godzilla.
Nah, see, Godzilla is our protector, meaning Earth. Kong is the protector to inner Earth. Kong was never supposed to be up here. That's why every time, from the very first time Kong and Godzilla seen each other, from the first movie to the second one, they always started fighting, because every time a Titan comes into our realm that don't belong, it wakes Godzilla up dormant from his sleep, and he has to put things back right.
Yeah.
It's rules to this.
But
And
I like Kong better, though. Who do you guys like? Kong or Godzilla? Be honest. Dom, I already know you like freaking Godzilla. You're a reptilian lover.
No, I'm not. I roll with Kong. Because Godzilla, I think, is an iguana. Basically, a mutated iguana. Yeah. When they was blowing the bombs up, they think they slick, and they, like I said, they try to spin it and give you a movie, and you already know the story. And I'm just gonna fresh your memory. You remember when the United States, was dropping the bombs in the water? Y'all remember that? That is the same thing that created Godzilla. Same thing. He literally was out like an atomic bomb, and when you drop.
What was the operation called? Are you talking about Operation Fishbowl?
Yeah, because when you drop
at the firmament, though.
Yeah, but you gotta let me finish, because there's a science behind this. They think they slick. When you drop a bomb of that magnitude at the water, at that rate, it instantly shocks the water and creates ice. You know that, right?
No, I didn't.
Meaning, like, that's why they want to shorten it and call it the Antarctic Treaty, but the real name of it is the Australian Antarctic Treaty, because Australia is a piece of Antarctica that broke off.
That's fascinating. But what I was asking you is, you were talking about they dropped the nukes into the water. I was saying, is that like a government? Was there a government name of that? Because when they were shooting them up at the firmament, it was Operation Fishbowl. Then they had like Operation Dominic. The different ones where they were launching nukes.
I got the list. I forgot it's the one with the water, but I got the list. Let me see if I can pull it up with me still on here without it pulling me.
There was Operation High Jump. That was Admiral Byrd going down to Antarctica, right, Jay?
Yeah, he was a part of more than one.
Oh, that was one of them, yeah.
Yeah. They got a really good documentary. I don't like the History Channel because they lie too much, and they always like, the ancient alien astronaut theory is. I'm like, dude, what the hell is ancient alien astronaut theory? You guys just made this shit up, and now we're supposed to believe like I can call myself an ancient alien astronaut theorist. You know what I'm saying? But they act like it's some scientist or something.
Operation Deep Freeze.
Oh, I never heard of that one. See, I'm learning
1955. And see, this is what I've been working on. This is how I found, like I said, about Asgard, where the story of Odin comes from, Mount Ural, that's in Russia. It used to be an old portal that was there, but it ain't there anymore. They destroyed it. But the order that they did this in, 1946, was high jump.
Yes. Then you froze. 46 was high jump. Dominic came after that, right? Dom? I think we lost them. They shut Dom down. Here, I can tell real quick. Chat GPT, and that's the one thing I love about Chat GPT, especially now with that new search feature, Jay.
Mic
Have
check.
you tried?
Mic check.
Oh, there he is. Okay, go ahead, Dom.
1950. What was the last one that you heard?
Just start over.
Deep freeze was the last one I heard.
Deep freeze was 1955. NASA was founded in 1958. The Antarctic Treaty was in 59. Operation Fishbowl was 62, and then Apollo was in 69. That's literally the order of their history on everything that they, done. And it's kind of funny that if you go back to you listen to what I said about how this all started, once they found out that the firmament existed and they knew it was there, that was the first step. You seen that in the first year it was made. Then they did the freeze to give you the Antarctica illusion, covering things. And then this is all before NASA was even a thing. Like NASA wasn't even done yet. And then NASA was created to give us everything that we get now. But they had already knew that the firmament existed and gave us Antarctica because, honestly, this realm, planet, whatever you want to call it, was never actually supposed to be cold. Winter is not a real thing. That's something that they did.
You think so?
I know so.
Why do they keep saying it's interesting too? What was that called? Game of Thrones. Winter is coming. Winter is coming. They said that a lot in that movie. And then what's his face? Oh, damn. Biden. He was always talking about dark winter. There's something to do with that whole winter thing. But I asked ChatGPT right here. Operation High Jump, 1946 to 47. And then right after that, what happens, Dom? Aliens show up, bro. You know what else happened that year too? That's when they did the Babylon workings with Jack Parsons, who was that rocket scientist. Then he died in some weird fire. He opened up a portal. Then all these aliens start showing up. But look at these occultic ass numbers, guys. Byrd brought 4,700 men. There's 47-degree Masonic compass, 13 ships, right? 13 bloodlines, 33 aircrafts. I mean, they love using this shit. And in this, rumors of whistleblower accounts suggest they encountered unknown advanced technology, possibly underground bases, reptilian hybrid entities. Byrd gave interview warning of flying craft that could travel pole to pole. That's what it said in the documentary I watched last night. But that was also on the History Channel, so who knows how damn true that is. Some truth seekers believe the mission was to explore the barrier at the edge of the known world, aka the firmament. And then you had Operation Deep Freeze. Is that the one you said, Dom?
Yep.
That one's 1955 to ongoing, is what ChatGPT said.
Hey, that's the year time travel was invented on Back to the Future too. 55 comes up a lot in the movies, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's 10-10. It's 11. It's a portal. Because 9 plus 1 is, that's 10. And then 5 and 5 is 10. So
yeah,
it's 10, 10. The zeros drop. It's 11. 11 is a portal.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. That makes sense.
Up, trying to open those portals,
bro.
Yeah, and it was on Mount Ural in Russia. That was how they separated us from Asgard, because that portal sent you directly to Asgard.
Oh, for real? And then Operation Dominic was in 62, and its name meant, this is your name, Dom. Dominic means of the Lord. Shout out to my boy Dom, of the Lord. Purpose, massive U.S. nuclear testing program, 105 detonations in the Pacific. included sub ops like Fishbowl. So I guess Fishbowl was a sub operation of Dominic. That's interesting. And this is when they were shooting the nukes up at the firmament. Remember when Hillary Clinton said, Jay, we're going to break that unbreakable glass ceiling? You remember that shit?
Yeah, of course.
Well, like, what did she had to be talking about the firmament, dude. I think they're trying to get up out of here for real. I think they are.
Yeah, I keep saying that because the ones that see, that's what my theory is why CERN was created, because CERN is created and it makes artificial portals the ones that they can use, but the real ones they can't use, and that's why they're trying to go because they can't get out. They stuck here. We ain't stuck. We can leave, and they know that. And they was like, okay, so we get ready to take all the portals, because I have every single original portal, and then I'll show you how the CERN copied them. And CERN itself, the building, is literally built on Apollo's tomb.
Yeah, this is crazy.
There's other ones too. Check out Operation Crossroads. That pertains more to like the bombing when they dropped the nukes on the top of the ocean, on the surface, when they went out into the middle of the Pacific.
You know, this freaking AI's got to be some type of freaking gin or something. How fast it can do shit, dude! It's crazy. It's actually taught me how to write better. AI, watching how it does it, it's taught me how to structure better, because it's. I'm telling you right now, dude, it's crazy how it does this. Operation Crossroad was 1946, brother. That was the same year they did the Babylon workings, and that was at Bikini Atoll, Marshall Islands. Doesn't that have something to do with Godzilla?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does.
My bad,
I can't see.
Yeah, so check this out. So it says atoll. An atoll is it's a circular landmass that's created right above volcanoes that are under the ocean.
No. Okay, I got a picture. I couldn't on my screen. It's small.
Yeah, that's the mouth of a volcano underwater, man. Which is, like I said, an inner Earth entrance. They're provoking. You know what I mean? Like they're.
The Monkey King wanted out.
That's where. Yeah, that was in Godzilla. Yep, Bikini Atoll. It was part of Godzilla.
I think that might have been the first one of them islands that he had hit when they was dropping them bombs in Godzilla -1.
I thought it was the island that turned him into Godzilla. Bikini Atoll, Republic and Marshall Islands. Oh man, and they really was bombing them people. So you know what's crazy though? Like Hiroshima, right? They blew a nuke up over there. But then don't people really still live in Hiroshima right now? Nagasaki and all that shit?
I guess so.
I don't know if they live there where I don't know where they live exactly where the bomb went off. But the funny thing about it is that you brought that up, that the place where the bomb supposedly blew up is one of, if not the greenest place on the planet. As far as vegetation.
Dude, there's something.
I felt like we're being misled, because we know what a bomb would do. So if it done all of that, there's no way that even with the time that they gave you that it went off till the time that we are now, the land had enough time to recuperate and regenerate that fast. Something else went on right there.
Well, listen, that you're saying that, there's this guy on Instagram. I can't remember his name. He's been doing a lot of like Tatarian type stuff and stuff. I'll post one of his videos later, but he was talking about radium and all these plates and cups that were back in the day, like during that Tartarian period, that were charged with this radium. You know what I'm talking about, Jay?
Yeah.
And people are living longer from it, and they put it in. Back in the day, they were putting it like in their flowers and plants and shit, and they were growing bigger. I mean, it's kind of like the energy from inner
Yeah.
Earth. What do you know about that, Jay?
It's literally radioactive, and there's different types of radiation. There's radiation depending on, just like fire, it depends on how you use it. It can be used to heal and to help people, or it can be used destructively too. It requires a lot of research, like how far away you should be from the radiation and what kind of an effect it has, and the different wavelengths that the different particles have and stuff. But all right, so my theory, and I think I put this, it might be in both my books, I can't remember, but this was a huge chapter on my books, which was, I call it the Anunnaki gold. I don't believe that the Anunnaki, traditionally, the tradition says they were looking for gold. They created humans so that we could go mine for gold. I don't believe that anymore. I used to, but I have my own theory on that. I don't believe they were looking for gold. The ancient word for gold was shiny.
It's that element that was in Aquaman, ain't it, Jay?
Yeah, same one. So this is a legendary element or whatever. Sometimes it's portrayed as crystal. Sometimes portrayed as metallic, but it's has life-giving properties because it absorbs the energy, that positive healing earth energy that rushes through the earth from time to time. It absorbs it. The metals of the earth literally absorb that energy, and they contain it and they lock it away. So do the crystals. So, but the problem is, once that energy dissipates and it goes away, it slowly starts to leak out of those materials, and then they become what we call radioactive, or they go through a radioactive decay. So there's a time whenever they're healing and they're life-giving and stuff, but when they start losing all that energy, then they become radioactive, and we associate them with, the stay away because it's poison and toxic and stuff. But they were looking for that because that extended their lifespan. Whenever those beams were gone, the remnant energy was contained and kept within these materials. So they went to go find those materials that contained the value, which was this magic rocks and crystals and stuff, that they could use to heal themselves, to live longer. Not because it's just gold and pretty.
What's it called? We talked about it before, me and you, in the podcast.
Orichalcum is probably the Atlantean version.
Yes, orichalcum. Thank you.
But I mean, it goes by many different, and there's different versions. There's different types. So some of them glow green, like kryptonite. Some will glow red, like orichalcum in Atlantis. Some will glow like a blue, like a cyan color and stuff. They glow different colors based on the chemical composition of their container, or the type of metal, or the crystal that they're locked away in. You know what I mean?
That's fascinating. And
just
dude,
like Superman.
Just like Superman. And that would make sense, because then they tell us to stay away from it. It's radioactive, but really it's healing them and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they don't want us to be near it. That's my superhero archetype. I got a double superhero, Dom. I'm almost done with your decode. Mine is freaking Superman and Silver Surfer. I'm like a Gemini. I'm all mixed up. I got two superheroes, so I made this dude. No, I swear to God. The name I was born with, it's tied to that 166, which is I am Superman, Silver Surfer, demigod. It gets into going from carbon 12 to carbon 7 DNA. So we'll see what you are, Dom. I got to do Jay's. I wonder what Jay's superhero archetype is. And guys, just a little real quick plug. That's in my decodes I do. And this month, we're doing a special. You pay for the $35 decode, you get the $62 superhero decode. So we break down whether you're a first player character, non-player character, and your superhero archetype, and what god or goddess that's connected to. Shout out to my girl, Veronica. I'm not going to say her last name, but I did a decode on her last night. Really sweet lady. And her superhero archetype was Mystique, Dom, and her goddess archetype was wife. Yeah, so she kind of thought it was like a bad reading. I said, no, Mystique is misunderstood. She's not evil. You know what I'm saying? People don't. She's actually a very powerful mutant. She was always sticking up for her fellow mutants. So she's not evil. She was a shapeshifter, though. And Loki's wife is a shapeshifter, too, dude. You should look into Loki's wife. She's a giantess. I've been learning about all these gods since I've been doing my superhero decodes. And Jay, I found this new calendar, brother. I wanted to ask you if you knew anything about it. So I wrote my first code because I could not find a calculator on the internet that could calculate what your Mayan sign was. So I wrote a code to it and using Python, and now on truthfultv.com we have one. You guys can go on there, click on the Mayan calculator. It'll tell you what your sign is. And then if you do get a decode, I break that down for you, what it means. I'm the dog. That's my sign. You got Jay, you can go on there. Dom, you can go on there later and just click on the calculator, throw your birth date in. It'll tell you exactly what you are, your sign. I have a feeling Jay is probably a jaguar. I can't pronounce it. The jaguar. They have little weird characters to them. I really, really wanted to be something cooler, like maybe an alligator or something. But of course, I'm a dog. You know, that's my Eastern astrology too. You know how you have Eastern astrology, Western astrology. Some people are a pig, a rat, a horse, the year of the serpent. I'm a dog on my Eastern astrology too. But the Mayan has nothing. It was very complex to write the code, Jay, because you had to figure out your Julian birth date first and convert that. And then that's how you figure out the Mayan calendar code. Here, I'll show you real quick, just so I could show you guys what I'm talking about, because it really don't make sense.
Okay.
Just saying, but it's pretty cool. Check this out.
Every time I hear that name, I just cringe every time.
What? Mayan?
Mayan, yes.
Why?
Because being on TikTok and doing lives and being on the panels, and like I said, people don't like the fact that, like I said, these people are all the same people, and we think these is multiple races. The original Mayans and Olmec are African descent too. The original people, or the Inca people of South America, not Mayan or the Olmec.
If you're on your phone version, you got to put your date in a little different. It doesn't show things like this like it does on the computer, but it's really easy. You just click on the calculate this calendar over here and then put your date in. So let me show you mine. Well, because I don't care if you guys know my birth date. Boom. So then you hit decode and boom, it gives you your Julian day, your day since the Mayan calendar started, your galactic tone, which is 3, your day sign, which is number 9, and then your Mayan signature, with mine is 3, the dog, which my life path is 3 too. And then during the decode, I break all that down for you, what it actually means. I give you a full detailed, plus all the rest of the stuff that I break down. But I give you a little breakdown on it right there. But I added this new feature, guys, on the front of the site to make it easier for you guys. So if you want to check out, look at this. There's a video that walks you through it, but you can just click on this now, and that link is in the description. And it's hosted through PayPal, but you don't have to have a PayPal account. Look, you just pay with your debit card real quick, easy, secured right through PayPal. I did that to make it way easier for people to find. So that link's in the description. It tells you everything you're going to get down here. Boom, boom. And this right now, if you get that one, you're really getting this one. But that's only for a couple more days. This one right here. The superhero decode, which covers everything in the first one, plus breaks down your superhero archetype, whether or not you got the 12-strand DNA, the X gene. Dom, shout out to Dom, because really you got me hip to that back in the day. And then I started finding it coded into people's names. So I'm like, wait a second, Dom might not be crazy, because certain people have this shit coded in their name, 12-strand DNA. And I'm like, you know, it kind of talks about what Jay talks about too, with the whole plasma apocalypse, how certain people will get actual powers and superpowers. And then during them ancient times, they would hunt them people down because, you know, they don't want, wouldn't they, the kings pay certain knights to go out, Jay, and hunt the monsters and people that had abilities like that? They don't want
Yeah.
people running around like me and Jay and Dom that think the way we do, that have Superman powers. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I did mine on your website just now.
What's yours?
Wind.
Oh, you're
It
the
says,
wind.
yeah, it says galactic tone 10, day sign number 1, day sign name wind, and mine signature 10 wind. I don't know what that means, but that's what it says.
Jay, copy that and paste it and send that to me on my email. I'll send you a full breakdown back for free. All right, brother? Copy
Okay.
and paste that, email it to me, and I'll do your thing for free later. Actually, I'm doing Doms right now. I'm almost done with Doms.
I was just
I'll
about
have
to
Doms.
say, when you did mine, I mean, when you did mine's on there, you could have did mine's on live if you wanted to. That's how you said you wanted to end up doing my decode, because of something that you seen on my numbers. You was like, I'm fascinated with that. I want to know what your superhero is.
Yeah. That's why once I finish yours, Dom, me and you'll do a live together and we'll go over it and show the people how it's done. It'll be a good educational thing as well. But you know,
Okay.
we're at about 2 hours now. I don't want to keep Jay forever. And I appreciate both of you guys coming on and hanging out with me tonight. Jay, you know I love you, brother.
No
Make
problem.
sure you guys check out my boy Jay Dreamerz books. I just finished his second one. They're phenomenal. The links are in the description. Jdreamers.com, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah,
that link's down
daydreamers.com.
below. Yep. And Deadly Jefferson, do you want to plug any of your stuff, buddy? Because people are asking earlier if you had a channel or anything.
I don't got a YouTube up yet. I'm still working on that, but I got a TikTok. It's under Deadly Jefferson. I got plenty of videos on there where I literally go live on the video and break down and show you things that you might have not known or they try to hide from you. I got America is Egypt video right now on my TikTok that has over 22,000 views.
Can you spell out your name, like your @ sign? Because some people,
At
just
at Deadly DEADLY Jefferson JEFFERSON.
pretty easy. Deadly Jefferson, guys, check him out on TikTok. We love each and every one of you guys, and we thank you for rocking out with us. Make sure you hit that share button, like the video. When this is going to end, it's going to end on this video that I did. Because I didn't have my normal outro on there, so I apologize. It's a song. If you guys actually, I think I can fix it. Hold on, let me see. Remove that outro. Let me put my normal one on there, so I don't
Before we
got to make.
leave, all rivers are tree stumps. That's where the water comes from.
Oh, now you got
Just
to.
throwing that out there.
You can't just throw that out there and then leave, dude. All rivers are tree stumps.
Yeah, if you follow all of our rivers, like nobody never thought to be like, well, where does this water? It has to eventually come from somewhere. Well, like a lot of the rivers that flow, if you follow them the opposite way that they flow back to their origins, it's always like a big mountain or what we call mountains. Those are trees. Those are not mountains. There are no such things as mountains. Those are trees.
What's your thought on that, Jay?
I can see some truth to that. I personally see like the tree like the ancient trees as being like I talked about, the plasma that grows up out of the stump, which is the mountain, or which is like the volcanoes and stuff like that, and that they're created. The mountains, as we call them today, are created through electromagnetics, which just have to do with the plasma that's the terrestrial. It's like a geoplasma that comes up out of the earth. It grows just like a tree, like the tree of life and stuff. And there's many different ones, openings in the earth all around the world. And the great one would produce the largest tree trunk or mountain or whatever, which would be at the center of the world.
What about
But also that the water is created down inside of the earth too, like we referenced
I was just
earlier.
about to say that.
Yeah. So the roots of the trees are creating the water supply, the fresh water supply down under the earth, and then there's a different water supply that floods the earth from above. Every other.
Hey, well that reptilian dude, Klaus Schwab's is. You guys seen the new reptilian in charge, Klaus Schwab's dude that they replaced him with, and he said we're having water shortages.
Oh, really?
You know, yeah. We're having
on the
water
flooded
shortages.
planet. We're running out of water. The freaking
he said we're running out of
everywhere.
Water. The new crazy. Klaus Schwab guys in his eyeball, Jay. I don't know if you've seen him, but he
will
is
run out of water.
The
oceans will be removed according to Revelation, and the seas will be removed one day, and it'll be more of a desert world or whatever. Hey, also, before we go, I want to throw one more thing out there too, which is
go ahead, brother.
I wanted to comment on the mixing up of the directions. You know, Dom pointed that out earlier, and I like that. I think I agree that people forget that the directions change direction. You know what I mean? Which I believe helps to contribute to these tribes being lost and not knowing what direction they're actually traveling in or headed in, and constantly trying to find their way back to Atlantis or the Garden of Eden or whatever. And while north and south, they would flip every other polarity shift that we have, or cataclysmic event if they align with one another. East and west are made up concepts, relatively new. So in the ancient world, they had different words for east and west, and they were directions that meant up and down. They didn't mean left or right, going in a circle. One of them is Orient, and Orient was east, and Orient literally means rising. So it means up. It means to go up towards the stars. And then Occident.
I always thought that was China, Orient.
Right. That's kind of what it's named after.
That's where they get the word Oriental.
Yeah, they're the Dragon Kings, or they're related to the dragons, basically. But anyways, so Occident meant west, and Occident means setting or going down. So east was up and west was downwards. So they only really had those main directions. They had north and south to go linear on the flat surface of the earth towards the center or towards the outside or the dome. And then they had up and down, because you could go up and down. And then just any other direction was just northerly or southerly in that direction. You know what I mean? But east was up and west was down, basically.
Wow. That's fascinating. Well, I want to show you, this is only a 42-second video before we go real quick. Here's the new reptilian in charge that says we have a water shortage. Here he is, buddy.
About 50 to 100 liters per day. But not to fill a pool or wash a car. There is a difference. We must transform the way we think about water. By 2025, 1.8 billion people will be living in regions without enough water. Water scarcity is the greatest challenge we face today. And we need to start recognizing water as a precious resource. Therefore, water should be better managed, should be better valued, and has to be better preserved.
Maybe he's talking about clean water, because, you know, like there's bitter water all over. It's the whole ocean's bitter, you know, like we got water, plenty of water.
And then the good water they want to keep from us.
Yeah, and bottle it up.
Like, eyeball, though, dude. What's up with that eyeball? Did you see that?
Bro, I got they live contact lenses, eyeballs. You know, like I don't see human. Like your picture, your cartoon's pretty on point from my
Did you
perspective.
did you like that, Jay? I made that, dude. The new AI can make the craziest images. I got him as a serpent vampire looking thing. This is what I told AI. I said, make me a reptilian humanoid that looks half vampire holding a bottle of water that says serpent water. And that's
Yeah.
what it created me. I thought it was pretty
Hey,
on point.
yo, pay
That was over
attention.
here too.
I do my I mean I got my website and stuff, but I feel one of the most important presentations that I do on YouTube is my segment called Omens, because I'm really
I agree.
focused on the apocalypse and reading the omens. And one of the omens is and has to do directly with the water of the earth, specifically all the water that's becoming bitter and toxic and releasing neurotoxins and harmful algal blooms and bacteria and stuff. And in the book of Revelation, it says that a third of the water will turn red, and it'll have an effect on humans and animals and other things too. But like, I don't know if you know this, but there's been article after article coming out saying that the Earth's oceans are no longer primarily blue in color, that they're green now. That over half the
Yeah.
oceans are green in tint and green in color, and that comes from the ocean's toxic. It's full of bacteria and algae and stuff, and it's disgusting, and it requires a cleansing, is what I'm saying. Like, this is an omen of the house needs to be cleaned up. You know what I mean?
It's
Which is an
one of the
apocalypse on the
moments.
way.
And Jay, another thing to add to your omens that you should look into, brother. I was going to text this to you not too long. All the bees are dying, bro. Like, there's a mass bee die off. All the beehives are dying. And then I'm watching what's it called? Black Mirror. In the first episode, bro.
Oh yeah, I love
First
this new
episode.
season.
Oh, it is good. But look, they got June 5th on there on the board. That was her 3-year anniversary. And then remember, she gets like has a brain hemorrhage, and then they turn her into
Yeah,
they replace her brain, and she can't go outside the service area. But
right.
anyway, it's very bizarre. The first episode, guys, within the first couple minutes, they got a bee on there. They show an organic bee and then the robotic bee. And she's
Yeah.
talking about how they're replacing them with the robo bees. And up on the board, it's 1 through 32, which is bizarre. B symbol is 1 through 32. And that gets into that whole Merovingian bloodline, and now we're replacing it with the robo bees. The bee symbolism's been around forever. The land of the milk and honey. It goes back to what's his name? I can't pronounce his name, but Charlemagne was a descendant of that bloodline, and it goes back to before Charlemagne. But it started with a C too. It comes from his lineage. But we started making robo bees, bro. Like, I think it was in the early freaking 90s they were messing around with it, DARPA, like maybe late 90s. But that's what's coming, the robo bees, guys. So get ready. And they're going to surveil, sting, and all kinds of shit. Mass die-off of bees is happening, mass crop failures worldwide, like Jay's talking about with the oceans, and nobody's talking about it. Everybody's worried about what's going on inside Epstein's house. And, oh shit, I didn't want to say his name, but you know who's out, and stuff like that. Just mass distractions. So yeah, Jay, I applaud you for doing that omen segment. I think it's so important, to keep people up to date on these type of things that are going on around the world. I really do. And I appreciate you. And guys, make sure you help me get my YouTube off 8,046 people, because as we know, that's a number where they blow shit up. So I have a feeling they might try to take my YouTube, because 8:46, the first plane hit the tower at 8:46 a.m. The first person to take the you-know-what in her arms, Sandra Lindsay, her name equaled 8:46. And they kneeled on our boy George Floyd's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. So my YouTube is right now at 8,046 subscribers. I'm trying to get up off that number as quick as possible. So, help me out. Let's get to that 9,000 point, guys. But I
No
love
fear.
y'all.
You got this. Just keep being you, man. People will be attracted to it.
Always, brother. I've been a little laid back lately, but I got to get out here a little more. But I will. But thank you guys for coming on, Dom and Jay. I appreciate you. And
Thank you, brother.
let's do another
Anytime.
one soon, guys.
Anytime.
All right. All right.
Later,
I love
Dom.
you, brother. Yep. Take care,
Love you
guys.
too, man.
Truth Mafia music, this is where the truth begins. Welcome to Tommy Truthful TV, where we break the illusion. Ever felt special or different, caught in confusion? Are you the black sheep in your family line? It's cause you see through the matrix design. We're living in a simulation, AR controlled. Most are NPCs, their stories already told. The Saturn Moon Matrix runs the hive mind, but a rare few of us break through and shine. 169,000 first players awake, reality benders, born to remake. Then there's the Neo Code, rarest of all, like Jesus Christ and Neo, answering the call. The Matrix ain't fiction, it's prophecy shown.